Amiguru-may.
Hi, I'm Juanita and welcome back to the Knit Guru. Today is a windy day. Whenever it's windy, it's really too difficult to film outside, and I don't really want to go inside because the day's too nice. Anyway, I've got these two crochet hooks here. I've got this plush yarn here, well, it's a velvet yarn, and I'm going to make a capybara. This is a 4mm hook. This is the Knit Pro Waves, I think, and this one here is the Clover Amour in 5mm. These are a bag of doll and bear making pellets, and this is my little stitch mark. Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Here's my little container of stitch markers. So I'm all ready to go to make this incredibly cute capybara. This is from All From Jade. I got it early from her Patreon, and it's led to this, where I'm going to sit here and have a conchat, and a complaint, and a rant, and then we'll be fine, because we're still going to have a nice day, and we're still going to crochet a capybara. So here we go. So here's my thing. I follow Jade on Patreon, because I just want to support her. I think she's great, her patterns are all interesting, and they're fun to make. I haven't made a lot of them over my time, but I've enjoyed reading through them, and I like the shapes that she comes up with. They're different and unique. However, the other day while I was on Patreon, it came up that somebody had shared the capybara pattern. Now, the capybara pattern is part of a two-pack, if that makes sense. There's a capybara and a dinosaur, and they've both got a pellet-filled internal. This is a ginger nut. I love a ginger nut. For patrons, we got the capybara pattern early. It was an early release a month before it was going to go out to everybody else, because everybody else was going to get it mixed in with the dinosaur. We were allowed to make it, all that kind of thing. However, then it came that somebody was sharing the PDF pattern for Cooper the Capybara just free for other people to download. And that's completely heartbreaking, because this is how Jade makes her living, designing and selling patterns. So here we've got a pattern that's not even released yet, that's been downloaded by who knows how many people. And it's mortifying to think that somebody who's following on Patreon is also then just casually sharing on the patterns. There's my house, it's coming along. So that happened, and I thought, oh, that's awful. That is terrible. Who would do that? But something similar also happened when, because I also follow Crochet Me Zaddy on Patreon. Somebody shared the code that you get once a month for a pattern, and people had downloaded his patterns without paying for it, just by using the code, thinking it was a free code, where it was only a free code for people who had supported via Patreon, if that makes sense. And then the other day I was back in there downloading the dinosaur pattern when that came up, and next thing you know, it says that there's a whole stack of ones that are being resold on Etsy. The fact that people are willing to buy a pattern themselves from somebody and then resell it on, whether or not they've just picked it up from somewhere and reselling it. The reselling of the pattern itself is horrific. I mean, there's a lot of us that have had this happen to us, but when you start looking through on Etsy for Jade's patterns, they're everywhere. There's just so many, and it's one thing when people are taking, well, it's very annoying when people take my patterns, particularly when they take my free patterns, because 90% of my patterns are released for free, and then try and sell them as their own over on Etsy. It's a really slow process to try and prove that it's yours, get Etsy to take down the link. You have to message the seller and say you're selling my pattern. They always say something nonsensy like, oh, I thought this was my aunt's pattern. I was selling it on behalf of her. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll take it down immediately. And you think, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. So you get a lot of watermarks and photos, and still people just don't care. So this is my big rant. Why do people jump on Patreon? Well, we do it so that we can support artists and the content that we want to see, and then for somebody to break that trust by taking the gift you get on Patreon and on selling it or giving it away. It's just taking from other people. So this pattern here is really cool. She's got it's got pallets and it's got magnets, and it's a completely different construction to almost any other pattern I've made. It's been a fun make, because it's not often you can pick up a pattern and each row is different and you never know what you're going to get, but they're still easy enough that you can read the instructions and just go for it while you're doing other things. Here's his head. He's a cute wee boy. Yes, I am enjoying this yarn. This is just from Uncle Bill's. There's the lames. So all I just wanted to do, because this was supposed to be a video all about making Bryce the shark and how much I liked crocheting with yarn, but instead I'm just sitting here thinking, what despondent with the universe is probably a better description of how I'm feeling. That I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that there's people out there who are on selling, which is bad enough, but for people who are already trying to be in support doing the on-selling, it's crazy. And when you're out there just on the internet looking for a pattern for a capybara and you stumble across this, how are you to know that it's one that you're supposed to have paid for? You know, it's this incredibly annoying, if nothing else. However, this capybara is very cute. I do love him very much. He's one of my favourite makes in the last wee while, because everything about him is so different. He's a chonky boy. Now, I did see the capybaras relatively recently at Wellington Zoo, and they made me very happy. Then it made me go down a rabbit hole of guinea pigs and hamsters and which ones I preferred, and it turns out that I get to the end of the description of guinea pigs and hamsters, and I don't prefer either of them. For many reasons. Life is too complicated. Right, so here I'm taking these little ankle socks. I'm going to put the pellets in. I'm going to tell you this here. There is no easy way of doing this, particularly one-handed. I did get them in there, but I keep finding little random pellets everywhere. So many pellets. It looks like I've done well, but yeah, no, there's a lot of them still just floating around. I found another 3 just last night. So I think they're going to be a little bit like glitter, in that I am going to be cursed with them. I probably should have tried to put them in there the round earlier, to be honest, or put in fewer of the pellets. But I enjoy squishing them. It's satisfying. Those squish ball inserts, that if you squish them too hard, they burst. Yeah, they're bad news as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so at this point I'm still really happy with the fact that the magnet's staying on his head, and I would like to really emphasise the fact that at this point the magnet is staying on his head. Oh, there's a little bit of fluff. Because later on it's not going to stay on anywhere near so well. He's got a face that's required at this point. There's some eyes. I went with the embroidering them on because after embroidering on the eyes on the emotional support duck, I'm a big fan of embroidering on eyes. There's this little thighs. Now we just need to do his balancing fruits. But, yeah. Mostly I am thrilled with this pattern. I'm thrilled with everything that Jade produces. But I'm just annoyed and despondent with the universe in the fact that there's somebody who thinks that they can just take and share what's not theirs to share. One thing to share a link and say, I've made this capybara and it's really cool, you can get the pattern here. It's a whole other thing to take that pattern and share it and just let everybody have it when it hasn't even been released to the public as yet. See, this is the point where it's like the magnet just isn't strong enough. Oh, poor boy. At some point I'm going to find the ideal magnets, but that day is not today. So as I'm filming this bit is normally around about the time that I would have hoped to be releasing this video, but it's not going to go up until tomorrow because life has just been in the way. You can't tell by the beautiful sunlight streaming through my car window this morning, but it's been windy, it's been raining, it's been busy, it's been hectic. And then, you know, you just go through phases in life. And it's been one of those phases in life where everything is just hectic and something had to give. And unfortunately, it was you. Anyway, I'm back. So the capybara, beautiful capybara. I did not change the color of his ears for two reasons. One, I didn't have the right shade of brown. And two, well, I didn't have the right shade of brown to start with because I had cream, but it really looks lighter on video than it does in real life. I really like this capybara. I have put too many of the pellets in his belly. So I think if I was going to make this again, and I probably will make this again, because I feel like my niece will want one. However, I'm not going to worry about doing the magnet fruits again for her, because it sort of works. And it definitely sort of works. But then there's a point at which he gives up, because I don't think my magnets are big enough or strong enough. But what I like about all from Jade's patterns is that you don't know what you're going to get. In a world of same, we've all got a pattern for a turtle. I think we've all got a pattern for, well, basically anything that's a blob bird. You know, we know how a lot of Amigurumi projects start. They start with a crochet 6 into a circle. And hers aren't doing that. And I'm not saying that not starting on 6 makes you more innovative. But this is the first time that I've used the pellets in a crochet pattern. It's not the first time I've used magnets. I used magnets in one of my own patterns a while back, but I can't say I used them successfully. I really have to find the right magnets. I've had super strong magnets, but I think the plush yarn makes it a little bit too much. These ones would be fine with a DK weight acrylic, but they're just not strong enough to get through 2 layers of plush yarn. I like the way this is constructed, and it's constructed in a really different way. Her instructions are so detailed. The last one I made was the caterpillar. And is this caterpillar great? No, I did not do a good job in making my caterpillar. He needs another body portion, but I didn't have another body portion colour that I wanted to use. So I didn't. So he needs a larger body portion, but he also needs to be stitched together a little bit better, because I was trying to follow the instructions. I've done a reasonably good job, but it's not the greatest. But her patterns are different and unique, and you don't know what you're going to get. The construction is different in all of them, and the instructions that she's got are so, what's the word I'm looking for? Detailed. I think I've also made a jellyfish, I think this time last year, a tiny jellyfish, and that got swooped up by somebody. But yeah, it's, I've lost my fruits, don't fall down there. I put my fruits there. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this. Just give people what they deserve. I do know there are pattern designers out there that charge a lot for their patterns. And if it's worth it to you, you'll pay it. I've got patterns that I sell. I've got patterns that I give away for free. I've got patterns that have been stolen and sold by other people. And I don't really understand that at all. And there's also been those wonderful people who have pointed out when that's happened. Is there any way of recouping losses? Not really, because I have no idea of knowing how many of my patterns have been sold. And I don't go through Etsy and just troll. But in a world where we're struggling with AI patterns that are just not what they say on the tin. I mean, you know, the instructions are there and the picture is there, but it takes a while to look at it to know that they're not the same. I know that it's the same in the knitting community. There's a beagle pattern a few years back that someone posted on my Facebook page to say, here's the link, go and buy it. And right before I went to buy it, one of my other friends said, don't do that. That's not the right link. This is the pattern designer, this is where you want to get it from. And so it was like right in the nick of time that I got in there and to buy it off the actual designer, not someone who was reselling the pattern. So yeah, if you've got somebody's pattern and it is really cute and you want to make it,
cool, make it. If you want to make 50 of them and give them away to all your friends, cool, go for it. But if you want to take that pattern and sell it, or worse, take this pattern that was not even released to the public at this point and share it, it's really on the nose. I do know there's a lot of people copying this pattern, or they've got their own version perhaps, and it is a caterpillar. So, I mean, maybe caterpillars and capybaras are both really popular. But looking at the construction of these two, it's Jade's construction that makes her patterns unique. Yes, I do subscribe to her Patreon. I think I subscribe to the Patreon of, is it 4 creators? Yeah, all from Jade, Crochet Me Zaddy, Complicated Knots, and Annie from Hooks and Healers. At least one of those, I've only made one of their patterns. But I follow them because I enjoy their content. Their Patreon's not expensive, and I enjoy having extra content. And there's a couple of things there that make me go, that's cool, I like that. And I will make at least one of their patterns at some point. But to me, it's worth it. Ones like Complicated Knots, I go back to the patterns all the time, because what she's doing is interesting and innovative and different every single time, and being highly entertaining. And all from Jade, while I haven't made a lot of her patterns, because some of them are not calling to me, but I know that I'm going to make the octopus shortly. The octopus is on my to-do list. The capybara just skipped ahead of the process because I wanted to have this rant. And I feel like having this rant during Amiguru-may makes sense. So if you're out there and you're seeing this capybara and you haven't bought it from All From Jade, or you're not on her Patreon, or just don't make it. It clearly says at the bottom of the pattern that it's not to be redistributed as a pattern, but people are doing that. And I've always thought of the fibre arts community as one of encouragement and inclusivity, but not one of, I don't even think it's greed. It's just, I don't even know the right word to use to explain just how annoying it is to see that somebody who's put their heart and soul into their creations, and that's their livelihood, and someone's just giving it away. You know, I know times are tough, this economy sucks, but you're also taking from Jade's family and her ability to pay her bills and feed her children. So that's what I think we all should be thinking about. Yes, I'm sure there are people who have stumbled across the pattern and are unaware of the fact that it was a paid pattern. There are also going to be people who have stumbled across those ones where you buy a pattern on Facebook and then it says that, you know, for X many dollars more, you can have 100 more patterns, and nearly all of those patterns will be stolen from somebody else. And people fall for that. And we shouldn't. But we do, because, you know, we always like to think that we're getting a good deal. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the process of watching me make this super cute capybara. I will put the link for him and his dino pal down below if it's released to the public, or when it's released to the public. And my apologies for having this video up late. It's just not been the kind of week that I've been able to stop and crochet or film or edit. And hopefully I will get 2 videos back up this week. We'll see how we go. Bryce the Shark is taking way too long. Anyway, I will see you next week. Bye.